Officers throughout our area are mourning the deaths of Officer Alex Hamzy and Sergeant Dustin DeMonte.
Western Mass News reporter Maria Wilson spoke with one retired officer on the lasting impact shootings like the one Wednesday night had. Maria?
Chris, Mary, the men and women in blue throughout the area are mourning the two fallen Bristol officers who made the ultimate sacrifice Wednesday night. I spoke with one retired officer who tells me this tragic event hits close to home for him.
And like every police officer, every retired police officer, it really hits home. The reason it does is because we think of the people that these officers have left behind. 3 officers answered a roll call yesterday in Bristol, Connecticut, a very short distance from Springfield, and they didn't come home.
John Delaney is a retired Springfield police sergeant and director of the annual Ride to Remember, which honors fallen officers and firefighters in Massachusetts. Delaney served on the Springfield police force for over 30 years. He tells Western Mass News the fatal shooting of the 2 Bristol, Connecticut officers this week reminds him of a loss the Springfield Police Department faced more than 30 years ago, when officers Alan Beauregard and Michael Scavina were killed on the job.
That night left a hole in my heart to this very day. So the police officers that worked with these 2 officers in Bristol and their families, that feeling will never go away.
Delaney began the Ride to Remember back in 2013 as a tribute to Springfield officer Kevin Ambrose, who was killed in the line of duty trying to save a woman and her baby.
We started the Ride to Remember in his honor, but since then we ride for all officers. Just like next year when we do the ride, we're going to ride for these 2 officers in Bristol, Connecticut. We want to make sure the public never forgets that these officers paid the ultimate sacrifice.
The officers this week in Connecticut were shot and killed after being lured to a home with a 911 call and then ambushed. Western Mass News digging deeper finds intentional police deaths are becoming increasingly more common. Last year, 84 officers were intentionally killed in the line of duty, according to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund. That same report shows 19 of those deaths were police officers dying in ambush-style attacks, similar to the one Bristol officers responded to on Wednesday night. And the FBI reports intentional police killings reached a 20-year high last year, marking the highest number of intentionally killed police officers since the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Delaney tells me every call an officer responds to has the potential for danger. The retired officer tells me tragedies like this one are particularly hard for the officers who are still on duty. He says it's important to remember that police stations continue responding to calls even as they mourn the loss of one of their own. For now, reporting live in studio, Maria Wilson, Western Mass News.